Continuing with our zero trust journey supported with Microsoft credentials, now we are going to cover some of um, the controls or some of the tools, some of the solutions that you can use with Microsoft to protect the third pillar of zero trust, which is applications. And as usual, so we're going to go right into the portal. Now, remember, all the stuff that we're going through over here, we are just touching the surface. There's obviously hundreds of controls. As a matter of fact, if you go to NIST SP 800-207, this document has 59 pages of stuff and controls that if for zero trust. And Microsoft has its own documentation that you can also follow if you want more reading there. But in any case, so here I am at the Microsoft Admin Center, and what I want to do is go into the security portal, which is basically is Microsoft, the Microsoft Defender portal. And as I said before, almost all the security products, or most of them, can be found in this Microsoft Defender page. So there is one section over here called Cloud Apps. So if I expand this, you could go to what is called the Cloud Discovery. And with this Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, or MCAS, we usually call it, you can do a number of things. And we talked about this. So you can gain continuous visibility over shadow IT, people that log into services like Google, Dropbox, and you name it, that buy subscriptions without IT knowing what they're doing, but they're logging into these pages. So this uh, Defender, or this part of Defender, allows you to discover that, analyze cloud app usage, dive into a specific app, user or IP address, get notification about new discover apps and that kind of stuff. Now, I do not have license for the cloud discovery portion, so we're just going to look at it a little bit. But you could create a new report. In this case, I don't have anything on this environment, so you're not going to get much of it there. You could configure automatic upload, basically meaning that if you have logs from you could basically upload logs from routers, from other network devices that you have to have visibility into this as well. But and you could also take a look at a sample report here. So Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps is a um, uh, there's a lot of things that you can do over here. But again, the main thing is these are the main things that we're talking over here. So if you look at this report, it will give you, so we are on the dashboard. So you can go to dashboard, discover apps, IP addresses, user, etc. You'll get a number. There's 128 28 apps that were discovered. There's a total of 5,875 users using those apps. These are the different IP addresses and the amount of traffic and data that has gone through. So you get a lot of information, a lot of visibility into all those apps. And then if you look at so in Cloud Discover open alerts, you get alerts, you get the risk levels of those users. You actually get a list of the top users and the top IP addresses. So you could get that over there. And even the countries where those applications are, those users are coming from to log into those applications. And then here you get a list of those applications. And then if you click on any of these, you will drip down. You will, you will you will drill down into any of these applications. You get a lot more information. This is very, very, very comprehensive. Now, again, we don't, um, this is just touching the surface, but this is one of the key things when it comes to managing. Now we're talking about web applications. Okay? We're not talking about user installing, like tools and stuff like that in this specific case. Now you control those things with app whitelisting and that kind of stuff. So specifically in this case, we're talking about this kind of um, the web applications, which is a lot of SaaS applications. That's what people are using on. People using artificial intelligence tools and stuff like that. All of that can be discovered and controlled through this. So that's one of the key point of this pillar visit. But one of the most important thing I wanted to do something kind of like practical here and not just show stuff. But so what I wanted to do is I'm gonna go into this is actually we're still at the uh, Defender portal, and I have so many windows over here. So what is it? Okay, here we go. So I am at the actually let me just walk out of here so that um, we can come and I want to show you exactly what actually if I go to you can go directly into the Microsoft Entra portal. So if I go into the Microsoft Entra portal right here, this is another um, URL that you need to put into your favorites. It's entra.microsoft.com. So instead of going into the Azure portal and then looking for or just going into Entra there, you could go directly into the entra.microsoft.com URL. And then you come directly into the Entra web page. And one of the things you're going to see right here is, again, there's tons of stuff here, but we are interested in conditional access because conditional access, again, it's at the heart. It's a core component of zero trust. There is no zero trust with conditional access in Microsoft. Now, in other solutions, it may be called something else, but exactly it is what it is. That's what it does. Now, what the business case is this, right? I want to block anyone logging into the Microsoft Azure portal, all of this administration portal. When I'm talking about Microsoft Azure, basically that encompasses the whole any administrative feature of Microsoft Azure, including, of course, the one that we are on right now. So let's say that I want to make sure that, well, all my admins at my company are in the United States. So no one should connect out of the United States to Microsoft Azure to do any administrative work. So what we're going to do is actually I already have a policy to do that. But so let's take a look at this policy, and then we're gonna go over this step. So, and again, you just click on create a new policy. Since I already have one that I created here, so when you come to this page, there's a number of things, a lot of insights. This is an overview of all the policy over here. So notice that I have um, zero policy, it's enabled. I have one policy and it is in report only mode. So there are three modes. We'll talk about that. So let me click on this. So the policy, I only have one policy here. And again, it was created by a user. The state is report only. So it will not take any effect it will only log whatever happens, right? And then you'll see when it was created and that kind of stuff. So let's click into this policy and let's go through, because again, conditional access is one of those things that it's a lot of IT folks, unless you are a Microsoft, understand Microsoft security, people, a lot of security folks do not understand what conditional access is. And so when you talk about conditional access, then it's better to go through the motion and do that. So when you click on create a new policy, the first thing is obviously you need to give it a name. Okay. And then comes the assignments. The assignments is basically, okay, so um, what identities in the directories that the policy applies to include users, groups, and device principals, right? That you want to apply this to. So if I click on this, so first the policy could either include or exclude users, right? And in the include, then you have either none, known users, obviously, then that defeat the purpose, all users or selected users. In this specific case, um, so we have selected users, okay? So I could have chosen anything that I want, but in this specific case, I chose one user, okay? It could be an entire group if I wanted to. The user that I chose to kind of work with this, I remember that um, you could block yourself or you could block. You got to be extremely careful when you are working with conditional access. So in this example, we chose a user called student one. So that's it. So you click on select users, and then here you're going to have a list of all the users, and then you select the users that you want. And again, so you can choose users or you can choose groups. If you're going to be managing a bulk, hundreds, thousands of users, then usually you can do that with a group. But in this case, we're just doing that user. So that's the first thing. So the first thing is, who do you want this policy to apply to? So there is a lot of flexibility when we do this thing. So if, let's say, for example, that I messed up, or the policy doesn't go according to my intentions, what I want to do, at least in this case, it will only affect that user. Now, make sure that this is not your global admin account, of course, right? And that you block yourself. But in either case, the policy is in um, report mode only, so it won't do anything anyways, right? So anyway, but the first thing is the assignment. Now, the second piece is the target resource, right? What resource do I want this policy to apply to? So if I click on this, um, again, I can choose either all resources, which it used to be called all cloud apps, because we're talking about mostly cloud apps over here. But again, you gotta be careful with this. Always start by testing, by doing, like if you're gonna do for all apps, first try it with a single app, see how it works out. You can create filter if you want to do exclusion, stuff like that. But anyway, so here is the resource. And the resource, so when I click on um, the resources, so here you are going to get a list of, there is tons of things here, right? Um, and again, it says only the first 96 are shown. Please include a search. So you could search for it. So there are tons of things over here, not just Microsoft, but tons of cloud apps. But in this case, what we chose was the Microsoft admin portals. That means that um, this policy will apply to any Microsoft admin portal. And the idea is, the business case is that I do not want anybody outside of the United States to access any of those portals, right? So that's chosen over there under the conditions. The network piece, that's new. We're not going to go over there here now, but very interesting things over there. So now that we chose the target resource, we're going to go into the conditions. The condition is okay, what is it that you want to do? And I have one condition selected. Let's see what the condition is. So the conditions that I want is the location, right? So if I click on the location condition, um, it says any network location or a selected network location. Well, so what I want is a selected network location. And in this case, the network location is the United States. Now, um, I already created that location. So I'm going to go back in a little bit. I'm going to show you what you create. So, but basically, before you start working with this, you create your location based on or your IP address. A location could be a region, could be a country. In this case, the location is specifically the United States. And I'm going to show you a little bit what that means. So the location is the United States. I already chose that. So click on save, right? And now, okay, so I chose the United States. Okay, so what is the access control? What is it that I want to do, right? Right now, you can either, so let's click on this, right? In the access control, this is the real door over here. Again, it's an access control. This is what, so you can either block or you can grant access. Okay. And again, within the grant access, there are tons of things you can do, like require multi-factor authentication, require authentication and strength app. You can uh, do sessions controls. You can require Microsoft Entra hybrid join devices. I mean, there's tons of things over here. We're not going to go into any of those things right now. But okay, so you go like, wait a minute. So you want users that are in the United States to get access to the portals and anyone else should be blocked, but then why are you blocking? Well, I'm going to explain that in a second. So we want to block access. Okay, we chose that already. We're blocking access. Now, the question is that when I go to locations, so let's go back into the conditions. And in the conditions, we chose the location type. But what we did over here was we excluded the United States. So when you are working with these policies, you can either include or exclude, because I want to basically, and this is something that some people have trouble understanding this, right? Originally, when I started working with all this, well, many years ago, it took me a while to get this. But what I'm saying over here is I'm going to block any country except the United States. This is what it's saying over here. Any country in the world will be blocked, because that's what I did in uh, the access control. Any country in the world, it's blocked except for the United States. So I hope that now that makes sense. So, and then once I do that, so I have the conditions, I have the block access, then I could also do session control. We're not going to get into that just to complicate things. So once I have that, then I got three choices. I either put the policy into report only mode, and then I can audit and see what happens. And normally this is what you want to do. I could turn it off if I wanted to, or obviously I can turn it on, right? So I'm going to turn it on, sorry. And I'm going to click on select location must select location. There is a location selected, no? Oh, so one is excluded. With select location, you must choose at least. Oh. So what this is saying um, is that no, but all right. So what happened here was that when I came here, I am on the include mode, and then I chose select network, but I don't want that. So, um, so basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say any network or location. So I'm not choosing anything here. And then in the um, so in the exclude, this is the one that really matters because this is what um, basically what I want to do here. So again, as I was saying, in the any network location, because remember what we are doing, we are blocking access. So that means any network location block access, right? Except for the United States. That's what the exclusion does. Okay. And then finally, so again, we're going to turn this on, all right? And we are going to click on save. Interesting. Actually, this is good. This is good. Um, because so let me explain this. So it says security default must be disabled to enable conditional access policy. And that's exactly what it means. So Microsoft have this security default settings, like you have to use multi-factor, a couple of basic things for small companies. Conditional access is considered an advanced feature. You need to have proper license. So what that means is that if you're a small company, you don't need conditional access. A specific conditional access policies. You enable security by default, which is enabled by default, and then you are kind of protected if you're like a very small company. But a big company that have complex requirements and that want to have their own specific conditional access policies, then you need to disable that. And it's easy because right here, it says it looks like you are about to manage your organization's security configuration. That's great. You must first disable security defaults, right? Before enabling a conditional access policy. So if you click on this, then what you're going to do is disable um, the conditional access. And there's a lot of stuff, and this is one of the same thing. It says, okay, conditional. So it says replace security default by enabling conditional access policy. That's what you want to do. So let's click on save and let's click on disable. All right. And now it's going over and doing that. Let's see now if it'll let us continue and save this policy. Okay. So let's click on save. See what's happening here. All right. And then now it's going ahead and doing that. So what we just did over there, just to recap, right? So we created a conditional access policy to block anyone from any country to log into any admin portals, right? Except if the user is within the United States. And again, you could use this with, any numbers of applications that you may have, financial applications, HR applications, but there are so many variation of this. There's so many things. You could block a specific country. You could block a specific block of IP addresses. There's so many things. Now, one requirement that we have to use before you use the name locations, the name goes with it, you need to create this. So you need to work with your network teams. So normally the network teams handle all these locations and IP addresses. So you need to work, or as a security professional, you need to be aware of these things. You probably are not going to be the one creating these name locations, because remember, this is a collaboration effort. As a security professional, you work with all the departments, with the IT department, you work with the developers, you work with the networking group, and so forth. But so anyways, companies will have a list of name locations. That's where you would create it. It's taking a little bit to get there. So but anyway, so this is really at the heart of protecting applications in Zero Trust with Microsoft. Now, we can go back later over there. All the things that we talk about is the remember that you can use Azure as an identity provider. So you could go ahead and register all your applications, whether they are SaaS applications in all the clouds or either internal applications that you have. You could register applications. So whatever application you have an application, you can click on register the application, and you go through. There's a number of steps, a number of things that you can do over here. I'm just going to call this app one. So let's say that I have an application, and then you can choose whether you want the application. You can use the application or access this API uh, for users only on this organization, account in any organization, personal Microsoft accounts only. I mean, there's a number of things that you can use over here, right? But this is how you would register those applications. And obviously, there's a lot more that goes behind the scene that you need to configure with these applications. You need to configure authentication. You need to configure secrets and certificates. How are those APIs going to communicate with each other? There is a token configuration, API permissions, you name it. So, but there is a lot of work behind the scene to make sure that Microsoft Azure, or in this case, Entra ID, is the identity provider, right? So, and again, so once you, this is where you register the applications, and then once you go into the enterprise application, the application, everything will be visible over here. Now, there are tons of applications. The name says it, enterprise application, that you do not need to register because they are already part of the catalog of applications for Microsoft, like application like Dropbox, like Box, like Salesforce, AWS. So there's tons of application um, that are already registered that you don't have to worry about. I don't know, something's going on with the Microsoft Portal, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, we just wanted to show you this over here. Another big thing is the monitor of this application with Microsoft Sentinel, which we're not going to be able to do much with Microsoft Sentinel because that requires an extra license that I do not have. But anyway, so really cool stuff. So this is at the heart of the application. And again, this is just um, a very tiny number of things that you can configure when it comes to applications, right? So another thing that I want to mention is the Microsoft Cloud App Security. It's actually what is referred to as a CASB, which is a Cloud App Security Broker. So basically meaning that all your applications, and again, all of these tools were kind of together in harmony. When you have Microsoft, you know, security solutions for zero trust, whether it is the endpoint detection and response, the identity and access management, data loss prevention with Purview, um, the unified endpoint management with Intune, the security workflow automation with again, so all of this application that a company may use, like a Slack or Workday for HR, DocuSign, everything is integrated into this, and you have visibility and control over all this application. So this is a key component of the applications pillar. Another key component in this suite of products is the Microsoft Defender for Cloud. This is huge. Actually, this is will give you visibility over everything. So you could either you can connect your AWS account, you can connect your GCP projects, you can connect anything and have complete visibility of all your security posture, all your security related stuff in your environment. All right. Now, again, Microsoft Defender for Cloud is a monster on its own. We could take hours and hours just going over all the features of the Microsoft Defender for Cloud. So we're not going to do that. But this is another component. But just this is just to give you a very uh, tiny introduction about all the solutions and all the capabilities that you can use with Microsoft for your zero trust journey. Now, again, there are other solutions over there, uh, out there, of course, to do that. But my main point has always been if you are going into the cloud journey, give it a try. If you are already invested in Microsoft technologies, you may be wasting money because you could be going out there investigating for things that for products that do not have the quality. Nobody has the visibility in the threat intelligence that Microsoft has when it comes to products like Xbox and cloud and Outlook.com. You know, Microsoft has been in the business of collecting logs and dealing with the stuff for a long time. It's a huge company. So threat intelligence of Microsoft is great. And all of that is built into this product. The same as artificial intelligence. Way before artificial intelligence became a thing with this, ChatGPT and this personal um, chatbot, Microsoft was already using artificial intelligence for their products. Okay, so anyways, it's this is another component of the pieces for the third pillar, and we're gonna leave it at that. So again, the third pillar, it's big, and we could spend hours and hours just talking about this. But just to recap, conditional access is at the heart of the application pillar. MCAS, or the Microsoft Cloud Apps Security, Application Security, actually the um, Microsoft Cloud Apps Security. That's what the MCAS stand for. All right. So all of these tools, right? Registration, registering your apps using the enterprise apps, or using the proxy for application that you have on premises, etc. So again, you can use these tools to go over your cloud journey. And with that, we conclude this application pillar of the zero trust supported with Microsoft Solutions presentation in Jenny. So all of these things that I'm doing over here is just showing you the how. Uh, well, a little bit of the how, mainly the what. It's all the capability, the tools, the solution you can use. Implementing all of this, obviously, it would take a lot of time. And as I have said in other videos, you need to have the right personnel, right? The skill set, uh, people with a skill set to be able to configure all these things. So, in any case, so that concludes the third pillar, the application. In the next video, we are going to cover the data pillar, okay, with Microsoft Information Protection, which actually we're going to be talking about Microsoft Purview now, another new name there. Well, it's been around for a while, but that's what it is. So we'll talk that next. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you continue with me on this journey of the Zero Trust supported with Microsoft Solutions.